Hello. It's Sunday, June 9th, 2024. My name is Dylan, and I do my show, Dylan Knows. And it's on a Sunday night tonight because usually it's on a Saturday night. But yesterday we celebrated my mother-in-law's birthday, which is on June 2nd, at my sister-in-law's house in Ellicott City. But we did not, it was a late start, so we didn't get over there until about 4 o'clock, 3:30, 4 o'clock. And we stayed till about 10-ish, and then we got home about 10:30. It was time for bed, and I hadn't done my research yet, so I figured, let's just go to bed and do my show on Sunday after Gumi Community Day, which is what was happened this afternoon here on this Sunday. And we're beginning the next work week. This is the last week of school for my kids. As a matter of fact, my daughter only has one exam left. She's in AP classes, stuff like that. She's already taken her big test, stuff like that. So she doesn't have to go to school until Wednesday. The last day of school is technically Friday, but she doesn't have to go back into school until Wednesday, and that's the only day she's going to be going in. My son has 3 days of exams, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and then he'll be done. So Tuesday or Thursday and Friday, which are makeup days for exams and for the snow days, which never happened, there's no reason to send them because they're both half days also. So there's no reason to send the kids there. It's all make sure that you have enough hours in schooling, blah, blah, blah. You know how it is. Oh, I forgot to turn on Dimitri. Can't have that. Can't do that. Yes, Dimitri is the name of my. Yep. A little discombobulated because of Sunday, so there we go. Now we're all set. So Tuesday is also the release of Godzilla Kong, The New Kingdom. It's also on Friday is Flag Day. And it's Father's Day weekend coming up next weekend. My daughter starts her work assignment for the summer this week coming up. So she leaves on Sunday. She'll work up at Broad Creek Scout Camp from Sunday through Saturday. And then she'll be back on Saturday for just about 24 hours, and then gotta go back next Sunday, the next day, and up there for a whole week and so on and so forth. So, but yeah, Father's Day weekend is coming up this upcoming weekend, 1 week from today. My birthday is coming up. Let's see, today's the 9th, so it's 11 days from today. So that's cool. And we got all kinds of stuff going on. Bad Boys sequel is one of the first big hits of the summer. We had 40 years of Ghostbusters and Gremlins and Streets of Fire. Don't forget that. We've got 39 years of the Goonies and Back to the Future. Well, not Back to the Future yet. That's in July. But we've got some big stuff coming up. Anniversary-wise, it is, as I said, the summertime. So we're going to have lots of anniversaries of big, popular sort of summer films that are coming out around this time. There's a lot of death this week. And sometimes get more than others, and I don't have my regular glasses, so it's going to be a little bit of a struggle, but let's hope we can get this done. Some casting, more casting on Superman, more casting on Wake Up Dead Man, which is the Knives Out movie trilogy, third one. Glass Onion was the second one in the trilogy. We got some food stuff. We got some supernatural stuff. We have some Halloween stuff. Yes, it's not too soon to talk about Halloween and fall because that is the best season, despite the fact that summer still hasn't hit yet. It's on my birthday in 11 days, so we still have to suffer through that, but it's never too early to start talking about Halloween stuff. In fact, I don't have on the list today on my today's show, but Home Depot, I believe, released their fall product line. All the new inflatables they're going to have in time for Halloween. So I did pick out one that is pretty interesting. So we will talk about that too. We got some trailers to talk about. We got a new invasive species. 2020, we're supposed to have an invasive species. It didn't come about, but we have one now. A Blast to the Past is coming up. A bunch of cat stuff is going on. Johnny Depp has a new role. What the hell did I write there? No idea. So as I said, it's going to be a little bit tough here to get through new casting. HF Festival is back. And something that normally doesn't happen here in Maryland, particularly in our area. We had 7 tornadoes sighted on June 5th, which was my dad's birthday. It was a hugely big storm day, lots of rain, not as much thunder and lightning as I thought. Got a little bit of it and not as much wind, but there was a tornado that was spotted in Gamber, which is an area between Westminster and Reisterstown. And they said it was going to hit Reisterstown at 8:15. And when I got the call from my wife that she saw that, it was 8:17 and there was no wind. But I did get a picture of the clouds. Let me see if I can find the cloud, because that's one of my favorite pictures. Yeah, there it is. No, that's not it. That's the window. It's this one. I took this one outside. This is, let's see if I can get that in there so that, yeah, I guess you can't really see it too well. Can't see it too well. But you go to my Instagram or my Facebook and you can see it on there. But yeah, we had a good thunderstorms and some wind, and 7 tornadoes did touch down. There is proof of that, but none of them affected us. One was supposed to affect in Olney, which is where my in-laws live. Didn't affect them. They didn't get anything there. And one was supposed to land in Columbia, where my sister-in-law used to live, but she lives in Ellicott City now, so no effect there. So it was a very tumultuous weather on the June 5th. It was also humid as fuck, excuse my language, this week. This weekend, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, has actually been really, really nice weather-wise. Low humidity, some nice breeze, good temperatures. Now we're going to get into a little bit of good stuff here. 73 tomorrow, 73 Tuesday, 79 Wednesday. It's going to get warm again. 85 Thursday, 89 Friday, 81 Saturday, 82 for Father's Day, 83 next Monday, and then 91 degrees next Tuesday, which sucks balls. But okay. That was where we are. It's presently 70 degrees out at 7:56 p.m. on Sunday, June 9th. So here we go. So I already talked about Ghostbusters Day was yesterday. It was 40 years ago in 1984 on June 8th, Ghostbusters was released, as was Gremlins, another great 80s film, and Streets of Fire, which not a lot of people know about because those two totally demolished it. But 40 years of Ghostbusters, 40 years of Gremlins, 40 years of Streets of Fire. So pretty good anniversary there. A big one. Next year, we're going to have big ones also. We're going to have 40 years of the Goonies, because they were 39 years ago this week. And Back to the Future will be 40 years next year. But that's not till July. So we'll talk about that when we get to our July episodes of Dylan Knows. But so those will be coming up to their 40-year anniversaries here in a little bit. The Goonies is right there. I had it twice. Oh, yeah, that's right. I was going to name the episode Unrecorded Night. I can do that next week. The reason why I was going to call it that was because last week I told you that on June 5th, David Lynch said that he was going to announce something, and everybody was speculating it was going to be a new movie project or Twin Peaks picked up or something like that. And that's what I was hoping for too. But I also said on the show, I hope to God it is not a new album with Krista Bell, because she also said something was coming June 5th. And what was it? A new album with Krista Bell and a new video directed by David Lynch. That was the big announcement, and actually was announced on the 4th instead of the 5th. So that was funny. Gumi Community Day was today. I actually got the most shinies I had in a long time. I got 18, which is really impressive. My wife got 12, so between us, we got over 30, at that exactly 30 shinies, which was good. Beautiful day to go out. It was our first community day with a new phone, so we had very little issues with that. Surprised that, Pokemon Go is still fairly popular, but Gumi is one that a lot of people like a lot. I was expecting to see a lot more people out and about, and maybe they were more at the parks and stuff like that, instead of walking through Reisterstown, because we do have lots of parks in the area, but I still did not see a lot of people out and about doing Pokemon Go, which kind of sucked because it's a good community day. We do have a classic community day coming up June 21st, which is Cyndaquil. So we got that. Speaking of video games, cat video games seem to be the new big hit now. We had Stray, which was that cyberpunk sort of cat video game. Well, the one we have now, there's a new one out called Copycat, which is a shelter cat was taken in by a family, and then somehow its place was usurped in the family by a jealous stray cat who looks exactly like it. And so when the actual cat tries to take his home back, they think it's a stray cat and get rid of it, so he's got to find his way back home. So kind of interesting about that. Power Rangers also have a video game coming up here soon, too, that a lot of people has announced at a video game conference sort of thing. A lot of people are excited about that. So that's good. Bad Boys ruled the box office this week with a $56 million opening, and probably the best opening, I think, of the summer. I think it was better than Planet of the Apes. Not by much, though. But everything else that came out, M. Night Shyamalan's Daughter's movie came out, and that tanked at $7 million. And a few other movies, the ones that were supposed to be, making money were just sort of bleh. And here's the thing that pissed me off is that everyone's like, well, nothing big is going to be coming until the prequel to The Quiet Ones or whatever that John Krasinski movie he did, A Quiet Place or whatever it was, the sequel to that. Or the prequel to that's coming out at the end of the month. It's like, no, it's coming out. And I was like, no, Inside Out 2 is coming out next weekend. And no matter how you feel about Disney or whatever, Inside Out 2, it's actually Inside Out is one of the more popular Pixar movies. And I guarantee you that Inside Out 2 is going to make bank and probably going to make more money than Bad Boys did. They're like, oh, yeah, Bad Boys could stick around for a while. Sure, it could. But I think Inside Out 2 is going to demolish it at the box office next week. That's just my opinion. Just a bunch of haters out there. But good for the Bad Boys, so whatever. And it's a good sign also. It means that a lot of people seem to have forgiven Will Smith, even though it's only been 2 years since the slap. So he still has 8 more years on his punishment. So we'll see what happens. Twix has a new thing called Secret Center Biscuits. I don't know if that's available in the U.S. with the name like Biscuits. It sounds like it's an English thing because that's their version of cookies, but it's a Twix sort of cookie sort of thing. It's not square or rectangle, rather it's circular. So don't know if that's going to be coming to the U.S. or that's just something that's English because with the name Biscuit. I think I mentioned this last week, but I'll mention it again anyway. Jif peanut butter and chocolate spread is now out. People have seen it on the shelves. I haven't seen it yet because my grocery store tends not to go too much into trends all that much. It's not like a Food Lion or Giant, which does. So we'll see what happens with that. But that one's coming out here too. A ghost was spotted on a hunter's trail cam. It looks kind of interesting. No sign of anything that could have looked like a hoax or whatever. It could be a trick of the light, whatever, but it was kind of an interesting picture to look at. Beck Bennett, Michaela Hooper, and Christopher McDonald, not the actor from Happy Gilmore, it's a different actor, and Skylar Gesich have been cast as Daily Planet reporters. Kat Grant's in there, Ronald Troop, Jimmy Olsen, and then Beck Bennett's character is one I never heard of before, but they are Daily Planet reporters. So there's going to be some Daily Planet scenes in the new James Gunn Superman movie. Julia Butters has been cast in the Freaky Friday 2 sequel with Lindsay Lohan and Jamie Lee Curtis. So probably the daughter of Lindsay Lohan, maybe, and the granddaughter of Jamie Lee Curtis. So I think Julia Butter's kind of youngish and would probably fit with being Lindsay Lohan's daughter, possibly. I'm not sure. Don't quote me on that. So, or it could just be a friend, neighbor, ex-wife, something like that. Don't know. Netflix to release Plankton the movie, a spinoff of SpongeBob SquarePants. Anniversaries, Prometheus came out 12 years ago this week. Transformers Rise of the Beast came out a year ago this week. The Game of Thrones Red Wedding episode debuted 11 years ago this week as well. Fortnite Chapter 2 Season 7, The Invasion season, was released 3 years ago that week. Season 2 was one of my favorite seasons, or rather, excuse me, Chapter 2. Chapter 2 was one of my favorite chapters, excuse me. And Season 7 was actually, the Invasion one was actually kind of good. They had previewed it in Season 6, where you would go to certain locations and a UFO would abduct you and carry you someplace and then dump you out as a sort of something's going to happen here, when they used to have a storyline. And then they created a whole like beachfront POI where people were excited about the aliens coming. So there's all kinds of places. It was summertime. They do a summer event, so it was a perfect setup for that. And it was a really good location, and I liked the season a lot because you could fly in UFOs, and there were aliens that you could get their guns and stuff like that, and it was kind of neat. And then after you defeated them, it was like one of the last times we had a really good live event. After that, season 8, there was a house out in the middle of nowhere that had the remnants of the aliens who did not escape the island. So that was kind of fun to see that. Plus, there were periods where you could enter. They had taken over certain POIs and had turned anti-gravity on. So when you got in there, you were floating. It was really kind of cool. That was back then. Fortnite was kind of interesting, and it's kind of meh right now. The whole Mad Max season we got going on now is kind of bleh. Nothing really innovative about cars with guns and shit riding around, unlike POIs that have anti-gravity areas, which was really cool. So there's been another Fortnite one coming up here in a while. Deaths, Alan Scarf, Lethal Weapon 3 actor, died at the age of 77. Chet the Jet Waller, an NBA 7-time All-Star player, died at the age of 84. And William Anders, Apollo 8 astronaut, dies at the age of 90 in a plane crash. He's the one that took the Earthrise picture that is famous now. I did watch over the weekend the Richard Linklater film Hitman with Glenn Powell from Anyone But You. And it was a really good movie. I really enjoyed it immensely. It's based on a true story, and it was Linklater sort of through the lens of a Coen Brothers movie. So you had Linklater and some Coen Brothers stuff going on, but it was a romantic comedy. There's some action in it, but it was real cute. It's based on a true story about a philosophy professor at a college who works part-time as an undercover agent for the police as a hitman, so that they get the word out that if you need a hitman, call this person, and they'll contact the undercover agent. And he has to get them on a wire saying that they're going to kill this person, and that's attempted murder. And the minute that it's on record, they can arrest the person and throw them in jail. What I liked about it was they showed a lot of how he coerced people into admitting it and talking about it. And Glenn Powell's character was really creative, where he was able to look at the file of each person that he was getting ready to pretend to be a hitman for, and then he came up with a different character for each one that he thought would suit them. Like there was a MAGA asshole who wanted to kill somebody, so he became sort of a MAGA person. There was a person where he became Patrick Bateman from American Psycho, which was hilarious. There was a one where he was sort of this English sort of proper sort of hitman sort of thing, and then like a long-haired, scraggly Russian sort of type. So he did a whole bunch of things. And the rom-com comes in where there's a beautiful woman played by Adria something or other who's dating Jason Momoa now. And she wants to kill her abusive husband, but this is the only time where Glenn's character doesn't want to bust somebody because he likes the girl. So she gives him money to off her husband, and he gives it back and says, "Why don't you just leave him and get a job and move to a new place?" And he gave her his number as the hitman. And so if you need me, just give me a call. So she calls him and they set up a date and they start dating. So he's got to pretend to be this hitman while also being this other guy. So it's kind of interesting. So it's a really good film. I highly recommend it. It's on Netflix right now. It is rated R, so it's more for adults. It's an adult romantic comedy, but it's a good one. And I think most people enjoy it. Again, it's linked later through the lens of a Coen Brothers movie, which is really cool. So the ending's a little weird, but it's understandable if you see how the show progresses. And I also like how the psychology professor discusses something and he sort of slowly becomes that person and that he discusses in his psychology class. So that's kind of neat too. And I also watched the first 2 episodes of Star Wars The Acolyte, which is driving me absolutely bonkers that people are hating it. Critics love it, and the fans hate it. Now, the thing I think most about that is we get the toxic fan base because there is a transgender actor who is in the film or in the series, and it's female-led, and there's people of color, so all the racist fucks that are part of the Star Wars fandom are the ones that are bitching and complaining, or they're the ones that heard about all this and said, we don't need any fucking Disney woke bullshit. So they go and they complain about it and stuff like that. So it's a bunch of bullshit. It's a good show. It's entertaining. It's not set anywhere near the Skywalker saga, which is great. It's like 100 years before that, so we don't have to deal with all that bullshit. So that's what I'm really tired of, is all that stuff. We've seen their story. It's done. Let's move on. Let's get other aspects of the Star Wars universe. And this takes place back when the Jedi were still in power and the Sith were like not even around. So it's interesting and a good cast, and it's a good murder mystery sort of. Well, it's not really a murder mystery because they know who the killer is, but it's just kind of a fun little action thing. So it's been a lot of fun, and we're the new episodes coming out this week is going to have the Wookiee Jedi in it, which is going to be really, really cool. So I already see him use the Force at the end of the episode. So ignore the haters. This time, listen to the critics. It's actually a very good show, and I highly recommend it. Next up, speaking of cats, a cat wanders onto a stage during an orchestra performance, and it's videotaped, and this cat just walked in the middle of this orchestra performance, and the orchestra is not affected by it, but it's just fun to see this cat just like, oh, what the heck's going on here? Because the new Beetlejuice movie is coming out in September, of course, it is a Halloween-esque sort of thing. A 12-foot tall Carnival Beetlejuice Party City exclusive inflatable is now available. So that's one of the Halloween things I was talking to you about earlier. Pat Sajak, it's 44 years. Pat Sajak, the host of Wheel of Fortune, hosted his last episode of Wheel of Fortune after 44 years of doing the show on Friday. So Wheel of Fortune is no more, as far as I know right now. But Pat Sajak has said goodbye and is retired. The NFL is in a little bit of trouble right now. They are facing a class action suit against Sunday Ticket. I don't know the full extent of it, but it could cause some major issues for the NFL here. So that's why they're going to keep hoping that Taylor Swift is still going to be dating Jason Kelce. Not Jason, the other Kelce. What the fuck his name is? I can't remember his name. You know who I'm talking about. Johnny Depp is set to play Satan, and Jeff Bridges is set to play God in Terry Gilliam's new movie. So that should be interesting. Both actors have worked with Terry Gilliam before. Jeff Bridges in The Fisher King, and Johnny Depp in the the one about the Las Vegas and the drugged out writer and something Las Vegas. I can't remember. It's and he also has done a couple other stuff with Terry Gilliam, so it'd be fun to see him doing that again. Jensen Ackles of Supernatural is set to take the lead in a new show called Countdown from the creator of co-creator, I should say, of Chicago Fire for Prom, called Countdown. And it sort of seems like, there's he plays a police officer who is investigating a murder that gets a little bit twisted, and he ends up having to join a undercover group to try to figure out what the murder was and who was killed and how it was killed and how it happened and went down. Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas is the one I'm talking about, with Johnny Depp and Terry Gilliam. He also did the Closet of Dr. Parnassus. Kristen Stewart is set to play Sally Ride in a TV movie about her life called The Challenger, which is not about the Challenger explosion, because Sally Ride was not a part of that. Sally Ride was the first woman in space. Watch Dogs, the movie based on the video game, adds Hunger Games prequel star Tom Blythe to the cast. I can't read this right. I don't know what this one is. Kurt Russell is up for a role in the Yellowstone spinoff with Michelle Pfeiffer. So that's pretty good. Talked about The Acolyte already. The Acolyte, apparently, with the low score of the people who are the viewers, stuff like that, didn't really affect it too much, because 4.8 million people turned in to watch the first 2 episodes of The Acolyte, which is the best opening so far for a Disney Plus show this year. So that's good. Hugh Jackman is set to star in a bizarre film called 3 Bags Full, which is also going to star Emma Thompson. And it's set to be created by Amazon MGM, because Amazon bought MGM, and they've been making movies and releasing them in videos and on Prime. The Roadhouse remake was an Amazon MGM thing. But the premise of the movie is so bizarre, it's not even funny. Hugh Jackman is going to play a shepherd who watches his sheep by night or during the day. And then when they're resting or whatever, he reads them murder mysteries. And as if they understand him. But the twist is the sheep understand him and they know what's going on. And then something happens to Hugh Jackman. He gets murdered, and the sheep hope that they find who the killer is, because they love the shepherd. And the police officer who's set to investigate it is useless, has never solved a crime before. So the sheep decide it's up to them to solve the crime. I'm not making that up. That is what the the movie is set to be about. So that's interesting. Jessica Henneman and Topher Grace have joined Glenn Powell's revenge thriller Huntington from A24. Hunter Schafer joins Michelle Yeoh in the Blade Runner 2099 series. Gremlins Wild Batch continues the Secret of the Mogwai animated series that was announced this week for the 4th anniversary of the Gremlins. 7 Tornadoes, talked about that already. Grant Spitove is set to direct the next MonsterVerse movie, which they believe is going to be another teaming up of Godzilla and Kong. I wish they wouldn't do that. I wish they'd go in another direction, and maybe that's why the director of the last 2 decided to leave, because he's like, we don't need any more Kong, Godzilla movies. We need Godzilla going after other monsters. There's so much more you could do. But unfortunately, he's no longer doing it. Grant Spatuve will be directing, which is more than likely going to be Godzilla Kong 3. The U.S. national team for cricket upset the Pakistan national team for cricket in the World Cup of Cricket. K-pop Demon Hunters is a new anime coming to Netflix. I think my wife is probably going to like that one. Jurassic World is another because Netflix did a bunch of their animated stuff about animated movies this week. Jurassic World Chaos Theory Season 2 has been greenlit. This is wild. There's a trailer that came out this week called Piece by Piece. It is a Pharrell Williams biopic, but it has appearances by Snoop Dogg and who else is there? Dr. Dre, I think, is in there, and a bunch of other big hip hop names are going to be in there as well. Except they're not going to be physically in the movie because Pharrell Williams wanted to make his biopic Piece by Piece a Lego movie. And that's what we got. You got to check the trailer out. It's freaking hilarious, particularly Lego Snoop Dogg. And it is a Lego movie. It is not a fake film. It's coming out in October, I believe. It might be an entertaining film to check out. I'm not the biggest fan of Pharrell Williams, but this is such a fascinating and neat idea that it might be worth giving a little extra money there because and hoping to make some money because it is a unique idea to make a biopic of yourself of Lego. He plays and he voices himself and everybody else, but it's such a great idea. Skydance has acquired Chris Pratt's film Way of the Warrior Kid. Don't know much about that, but that's the one that they've acquired that. Timothy Olyphant will be voicing the Terminator in the Terminator Netflix anime due to come out August 29th, which is Judgment Day in the Terminator world. Motel Transylvania is a spin-off series, I think also for Netflix, because again, Netflix did their animated breakdown of stuff. I don't know if if Andy Samberg is involved with it. But Motel Transylvania is a spin-off of the Hotel Transylvania movie series, animated series that Adam Sandler brought about, and Andy Samberg was in there, and Sandler got his buddies to do voices. Kevin, big fat dude from Kevin. I can't think of his name right now. And Steve Buscemi, Kevin James, Steve Buscemi, and a bunch of others. I don't know if Spade's involved with that. He might have been. But Motel Transylvania is going to be a spin-off TV series where Dracula's daughter, who fell in love with a human, and they've had kids, stuff like that, they're going to set out to create their own hotel, but call it Motel Transylvania, and make it a place where monsters and humans can coexist. So that seems like a neat idea. Let me just see if there's any mention of it in on Wikipedia, because I'd be interested to see if Andy Samberg is going to be involved with it. Transylvania. All right, nothing yet. Let's see if they have something. Hotel Transylvania. Maybe it's going to be on Amazon, maybe, because Amazon released the fourth one in 2022. No, it's going to be on Netflix. Okay, so all the information they have is Hotel Transylvania, a television series set to debut on Netflix in 2025, was announced. The series is set to focus on Dracula and Mavis opening a motel. Well, not Dracula, but Mavis and her human husband, from what I read. Not Dracula. Okay, so pretty cool. The Hotel Transylvania series was a cute one. It was right around the time my kids were growing up. There's a new Hunger Games prequel book out, written by the writer of the original Hunger Games. She wrote the Songbirds and Snakes, whatever, that the original prequel in the movie came out soon afterwards and was last year and was fairly popular. So she's writing another prequel, which is going to focus on Hamish's Hunger Games, the younger Hamish winning his Hunger Games. And that has also already been announced that the book is coming out in 2025. The movie is coming out in 2026. So it's already been announced that they were going to do both at the same time. So that's coming up. Frasier adds Patricia Heaton to season 2 as a love interest for Frasier, I believe. And out of the Wayback Machine, Angry Birds 3 is in production right now. Angry Birds hasn't been popular for a really long time, but they're making a movie about it. Some local news: it has been discovered that by scientists that Ice Age humans lived in Maryland 22,000 years ago. So that's pretty cool. I cannot read what this says. So, oh well. Anniversaries: The Rock debuted 28 years ago this week. One of only like 2 Michael Bay movies I really, really like a lot. Streets of Fire 40 years ago, I talked about that already. And Kung Fu Panda came out 16 years ago this week. Definitely have Tom Bowen, a member of 2 Live Crew. Hold on. No, it's not that. Tom Bowen. No idea. He's 86 years old. Must be a sports player. Can't read my handwriting. Don't have my good glasses. So no idea. September 29th, 2024, Daryl Dixon season 2. The story of Carol or whatever is set to debut on AMC. Bong Joon-ho and Warner Brothers are at odds over the director's cut to his new film. That's why it was pushed to January of 2025. An invasion of flying venomous spiders is coming to the East Coast, but they're not poisonous to humans or pets. But we will be seeing them supposedly this summer. Much as I said back in 2020, we were supposed to have an invasive species of another kind that never amounted to anything. So we'll see if that actually happens here. Plus, the locust stuff hasn't happened yet. So don't know what's going on with that. I can't read this one either. Mark Hamill joins Oscar Isaac's Jesus Christ film. He's making one, as is Martin Scorsese. They're 2 separate Jesus Christ movies. But Mark Hamill is joining Oscar Isaac's, which is kind of interesting. Beavis and Butthead reboot season 3 has been announced, and it is going to be shifting to Comedy Central. Jake Gyllenhaal has a role in his sister Maggie's Bride of Frankenstein reboot, remake, or whatever you want to call it. I talked a little bit back that Sam Mendes was going to make 4 Beatles movies and one about each of the Beatles, a biopic about each of the Beatles. and he was going to cast all the same actors as the Beatles, and not the same actors. No, he was going to cast the Beatles, and then they were all going to be in the movies. So they're going to be a focus on Paul, a focus on John, focus on Ringo, focus on George. But the other Beatles will appear in their solo movies. So in Paul's movie, John, Ringo, and George will make appearances, the same actors who are playing them in their own movies. It's sort of like his own little mini Beatles MCU Marvel Universe sort of thing going on. So we have a supposed cast here. Paul Mescal is set to play Paul. Barry Keoghan is set to play Ringo. Harris Dickinson is set to play John, and Charles Rowe is set to play George. So we'll see if that's officially announced. I think it was officially announced. It showed up on a couple of my websites. I don't think it's dream casting. That sounds about right for Sam Mendes movie. So we'll see if that actually turns out to be okay. Oh yeah, Killer's Gone or Killer's Game trailer. David Bautista plays a killer where he reteams with Palm, who played Mantis in the Guardians of the Galaxy movie. It says to play a killer who puts a hit out on himself. I actually didn't watch the trailer, so I couldn't tell you any more about it. Deadpool Wolverine is officially rated R, so it is a Marvel MCU movie that will officially be rated R for, I think this said, language, violence, and some sexual references. The HF Festival, which is a local alternate rock festival that used to be a big hit in the 80s and 90s here in the Baltimore area, was up in Philly, Washington. I don't think it ever went to New York. Maybe hit Baltimore once or twice, is coming back and going to National Stadium on September 21st. No lineup yet, but I would assume it'd probably be some of the top 90s, because HFS doesn't even exist. WHFS used to be an alt-rock radio station, which was an alternative to the 1980s pop radio stations and 1990s sort of pop radio stations. They did more out there bands that you might not have heard of before, but you have heard of them now. Actually, I couldn't give you any good examples. Like Kate Bush is a good example, actually. So Kate Bush was never really big, hugely popular, and didn't really become hugely popular in the mainstream until she was in her song was in Stranger Things. So Kate Bush was never really played on any of the main radio stations, but HFS played Kate Bush. So that's sort of thing. New trailer for that 90s show brings back some old characters and sets the stage for what we're going to expect in this new mini season. It's been divided into 2 other seasons, so this is part 2, and part 3 comes out, I think, next year early. So yeah, about that. Critically endangered Sumatran rhino has her first calf, so that's good to see that. Christina Minion has set to join the Dexter prequel. Sean Levy is said to be the front runner to direct Avengers 5 after his Deadpool Wolverine experience. Scientists are trying to develop a different type of chocolate, which is more healthy. They're saying you remove the sugar and add mashed pulp and husk of the cocoa pit, and you should get a better, more sustainable chocolate bar than a more healthy one as well than the sugar-filled ones we get now. Peaky Blinders film with Cillian Murphy has been set up at Netflix, and he has signed on to reprise his role that he did in the show, and it will be on Netflix. We've seen the script, so it's not faked. Netflix is the one that actually revealed the news. I'll do that one last. Paul Giamatti. That's a weird one, too. Thomas Hayden Church, Josh Brolin join Wake Up Dead Man film for Rian Johnson. As I said, Knives Out, third one. Evangeline Lilly from Lost and the Ant-Man movies is said to be retiring from acting, though she said she would return for the right role, but she's going to take a step back from acting. Okay. It's all good. It's fine. Paul Giamatti, who's a great actor, outstanding actor, really good actor, is set to be the lead in a TV show that makes no sense whatsoever, based on Eli Roth's torture porn Hostel. So Hostel TV show is set to come out with Eli Roth. It's a torture porn series of movies, and it's now going to be a TV show where people get tortured all the time, and Paul Giamatti is going to be one of the people who does it. I don't know what's going on with you, Paul. It's a really bad idea. Hostel is a terrible idea for movies. Torture porn is absolutely the worst, and the fact that you're signing on to it, I'm not a big fan of that. Man who married his holographic wife in Japan can no longer communicate with her due to a update of their programming. So the holographic wife who was able to interact with, he ended up marrying. He can no longer communicate with her because their computer programs no longer are compatible. So that's kind of weird. People do the damnedest things anyway, so come on. A lot of anniversaries here, so let's get moving on here. Con Air debuted 27 years ago this week. Harry and the Hendersons debuted 37 years ago this week. The Truman Show debuted 26 years ago this week. War Games came out 41 years ago this week. Chapter 3, Season 3 of Fortnite debuted 2 years ago this week. That was the Vibin season, which was actually kind of fun after another big, the Season 2 was the War season, and after we won the war in the live event, it was more of a vibing sort of place with all these like new age sort of stuff coming up, but then these plants started overgrowing the island. So that was kind of a neat season as well. I kind of like that one. Not as much as Invasion, but still was kind of neat to see that sort of come up. Ferris Bueller took his day off on June 5th this week. That's in the fictional world of Ferris Bueller. Joseph Haydn, conductor's skull, was returned to his body 70 years ago this week. Don't even want to know that story. The invention of the grocery cart happened this week. It was 1937. So 37, 47, 57, 67, 77, 87, 97, 2007, 2017. So 87 years ago. So grocery carts have only been around for 87 years. And D-Day, June 6th, had its 80th anniversary, 1944, which turned the tide of World War II in Europe. And President Biden was there making speeches and talking about what the soldiers gave up and how they're real heroes. And the convicted felon who's running for president also had nothing to say about it and was talking about how everything is against him and everyone should be thrown in jail or killed. So, yeah, you want that for president? You're a fucking asshole, lunatic, shitbag, motherfucking moron, idiot, fuckface. Death, Hank Foyles, former Orioles catcher, died at the age of 95. Down to the last page. I think I'm going to get under an hour today, just because I guess things are. I've been able to make it down to a science, and I'm not really discussing too much here. when I do discuss stuff a little bit, it does go a little quicker. So, anniversaries here also. But we're going to find out in about a month. But Deadpool Wolverine, the biggest theories out there now are about all the different cameos and stuff that's going to happen. And there was sort of a mini trailer that was released this week. I didn't make a big deal about it because it really wasn't that big of a deal. And there was a section real quick that showed Lady Deadpool's feet and like up to her calves walking. So Blake Lively has said that she is not Lady Deathpool, which would be, I wish she was. That'd be actually a lot better. And I would like Taylor Swift to be Dazzler, as is rumored to be. But now the rumor is that Taylor Swift is going to be Lady Deadpool. So I hope it's not true. I hope Taylor Swift is still Dazzler, and I hope Blake Lively is Lady Deadpool. So that'd be freaking hilarious. But whatever. Only Murders in the Building season 4 is set to debut August 27th. There were some behind-the-scenes looks at Stranger Things season 5. And we see the return of Vecna, but in his human form, going back to the past. He's dressed in old clothing, so I don't know if they're shooting a flashback or if it's a time travel thing, which I believe it is. And we also have shots of Sadie Sink, who last we seen was in the hospital in a coma with all of her bones broken and stuff bleeding from blood coming from all of her orifices. She looks fine and dandy, so we'll see what happens with that. There's also, I've been concerned about the new Captain America movie, only due to the fact because when they announced that the Serpent Society was going to be one of the bad guys, I thought that's great. It's a great concept for villains. And they said, not so fast. And they bring in Giancarlo Esposito as a different bad guy, and they've got Abomination, a whole bunch of other stuff. So we don't really know what's going on. So it looks like and I heard that they were cutting the Serpent Society out. And I was like, are you freaking kidding me? Because that'd be so awesome. However, there could still be some hope because there have been some behind-the-scenes photos, I guess, of the reshoots that are going on with Giancarlo Esposito, of Rosie Salazar as Diamondback, who is a member of the Serpent Society. So that should be a good sign that at least one aspect of the Serpent Society is going to be there. So we'll see. The Venom 3 trailer dropped this week, and actually, to be honest, looked pretty good, actually. It's basically, a lot of people have been complaining about it, but I was looking at it, I was like, it seems entertaining. It looks pretty good. Has Venom learning that or I guess he knew that he was from a different planet filled with symbiotes, and the symbiotes have decided that they're going to invade the Earth, and he's got to stop them because they're going to try to take over the Earth, and he doesn't want them to. So that's the general premise of it, and it looks really good, actually, to be honest. I've never been a big Venom fan, but I might have to check out 1 and 2, and might see this in the fall. But it looks pretty interesting, so I'll give it that much. Paramount and Skydance have agreed to merge. There was talk they were going to, then they weren't, and then they were, and now they officially have come together. What the hell? I have no idea what that is. I'll do that story. Cyndi Lauper is the most recent musician who says that she's no longer going to tour. She's doing a farewell tour this summer. And after that, she will be gone. No more tours. Not unusual. She's getting older. A lot of bands, a lot of musicians are doing that who are getting older. So it makes perfect sense. The Reese's Jumbo Cup is now out available. It's just a massive size, bigger than the big cup. So that'll be good to see that. Elle Fanning is set to star in Badlands, the next Predator movie from the Prey director. So that's pretty good. Bill and Ted's the trilogy. The Bill and Ted trilogy is set to be released in a 4K box set later this year, so that could be good to check that out as well. That's right. That's what Hail Mary, Project Hail Mary, starts filming. The directors of the Lego Movie are directing the newest the adaptation of the guy who wrote The Martian. Hail Mary, Andy Weir. So Andy Weir's novel has been turned to a movie by the directors of the Lego Movie, and it's set to star Ryan Gosling. So that's pretty cool. So they started filming that, so that should be coming out on time next year. Might be one to check out because they did a Peter Weir's film, novel, The Martian, is one of my favorite movies. So they can do that. What they did for that, that'd be good. Star Trek Prodigy Season 2 is set to come to Netflix in July. Again, part of the whole Netflix animated discussions they had this week. The live-action One Piece, also from Netflix, kind of secretly maybe reveal that they've already renewed for a third season, because I think they started saying that they're able to stretch out their storylines knowing that they have a third season, so they're going to be able to, set up stuff for that. So it's rumor right now, it's not officially been announced, but the big rumor right now is that the live action One Piece, which is currently filming its new season, is already been renewed for a third season. So, but no announcement yet, but that's all signs are pointing to that's what's going to actually happen. The Alien Romulus trailer came out this week, again, upping the horror aspect of it, horror and gore. That's what Fede Alvarez is most famous for, and what the original Alien movie was supposed to be, but I don't want it to be deep, dark horror because I still like my sci-fi aspect of it, so I'm not sure if I'm going to be checking out this one, but it might be enough for the big fans about that. The Bookworm trailer with Elijah Wood came out. Again, nothing too major about it. Godzilla -1 minus color is set to debut on Netflix later in the summer, which adds credence to my prediction last week when I announced that Netflix dropped Godzilla -1 on us June 1st, which was awesome, by the way, but not the minus color one. And usually when you drop something on streaming or digital, which is also dropped on digital also, the DVD, Blu-ray, 4K is set to come out about a month after that. So we're looking at sometime in July for the 4K. Now the 4K / Blu-ray is going to have both versions of the film on it. The Japanese version does, so I would assume they do that for the American version as well. And that in turn makes sense because you release the 4K Blu-ray with both versions, say July 10th, something like that. And then what you do is it gives incentive to people who want to see minus color to buy the 4K Blu-ray or the digital or whatever, but not the Netflix, because digital, I think you can get it on there, maybe not, but you buy it on the Blu-ray so you can have it, and then sometime in August, they might say, okay, they've had about a month to buy the Blu-ray. Let's drop the minus color on there. So people who didn't want to buy the Blu-ray but want to see minus color, all the people who want to see minus color quickly bought the Blu-ray and are watching it. Now we can show it to people who are willing to wait. So I think that's my theory about what's going on with that. Before I get to the last two stories of the week, I'm just going to blow through. Actually, we've got 2 deaths and then just a ton of anniversaries. So Larry Allen, a renowned, revered Dallas Cowboy football player, passed away this week. He's one of their, I would say, Mount Rushmore players, like we have Ray Lewis and Ed Reed and so on and so forth like that. And Lamar, probably could throw him in there as well. And Maria de Arger, the original Greedo actress, died at the age of 81 this week. Now, ton of anniversaries. Oh, and there's one more. Brother Marquis, one of the 2 Live crew members, also died this week. That was the one I was going to talk about. And then also, there's another dead one. William Richard, a Doctor Who, first Doctor Who, like all the way back in the 60s, friend and companion, passed away this week as well. Poltergeist debuted in 1982, so that would be 42 years ago. On this day, in 98 years, the Nostromo goes to investigate an outpost and introduce the world to the alien in the original Alien movie. Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse came out 1 year ago this week. The Untouchables came out 37 years ago this week. Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban came out 20 years ago this week. Wow. X-Men First Class came out 13 years ago this week. Star Trek III, The Search for Spock, debuted 40 years ago this week. No idea. I don't know that one. Big Mama's House came out 24 years ago this week. The Weeping Angels debuted on Doctor Who 17 years ago this week. Donald Duck is 90 years old this week. Oh, Dead Poets Society came out 35 years ago this week, which I always thought was more of a winter movie, but what do I know? So, yeah. Anything else? Did I miss anything else? Okay. Nope. So 2 stories I got. First up, the Washington Commanders, the football team, has adopted a shelter dog and will have a team dog to begin the season. So that's to get the fans of the Commanders to get excited about their team with new ownership and everything new about it. So why not have a new friend to come along? So an actual shelter dog will be at the ball games for the Washington Commanders. So that's pretty cool. And Dr. Pepper has just surpassed Pepsi as the second biggest soda brand. So that's something I did not expect to see at all. But here we are. Voila. All right. This is it. That is the end of the episode. Next week's episode is going to be the beginning of summer vacation for my kids. School is out for them on Friday, as I said earlier in the show. It's actually going to be out Wednesday for them because my daughter has a quiz exam on Wednesday. My son has exams Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. They don't need to go Thursday and Friday. So they're already going to be skipping those days. So that's good. So we have summer vacation. We've got Father's Day next weekend. My daughter goes away to work. She has an Eagle Court of Honor she's going to go to. It's Flag Day on Friday. So a lot of stuff coming up. Inside Out 2 will be out on Friday. Acolyte new episode of The Acolyte comes out this week. Godzilla Kong New Empire comes out on Blu-ray this week. So some good stuff coming up here. But as far as I know, I should be doing my show back on Saturday nights again. On Saturday the 15th. I'm not going to do it on Father's Day because it's my day, and I should be getting all kinds of fun stuff. So my daughter won't be there. She'll be heading up to her camp to work. And it's also going to be the week of my birthday. So my birthday is coming up fast and furious here. We have a scout dinner tomorrow we're going to go to on Monday. Excuse me, which is down near where I work. So I might just end up leaving from work to go right to, the place. So we'll see about that. And so we're going to have a early good weather early in the week, but then it's going to turn to shit here heat-wise because of fucking summer. What can I say? All right, that's it. That's all I got to say about that. So thank you for watching this episode. I'm glad I've been able to keep them short and sweet, and don't know if I'll ever get back to the big ones, but I will maybe eventually. We'll see what happens. But for now, thank you for watching, and tune in next week. As I said, should be as far as everything goes, according to plan right now, I should be doing my show on Saturday night as usual. So we'll find out for sure if that happens. So we'll find out. If I don't show up on Saturday night, I will definitely be there on Sunday. So enjoy your week. Father's Day coming up, as I said. Inside Out 2, Flag Day, Godzilla Kong. So end of school for a lot of people. So summer vacations coming for the kids.